So this will be a gentle practice that you can explore on your back. So within your own space, feel free to have a yoga mat or a blanket or just a comfortable surface that you can rest on. You could even rest in a bed. And gather any props that you'd like to support your comfort. Today I have a bolster, you could have a blanket, a pillow, anything you'd like. So as you are ready, feel free to make your way onto your back in your space. Take care to make any adjustments to support your comfort. So as you come onto your back, you might notice today if it's more supportive to have your knees bent, feet on the earth, or you could begin with legs extended. Sometimes legs extended creates a little tension in the low back. So just notice for yourself which option is preferred. I have this bolster today, so I'm going to use it and put it below my legs. So feel free to make any adjustments to support yourself. And then you could check in today to notice if it's more supportive to either have your arms out beside your body, maybe you like that sense of taking up some space, or your hands can rest on your body somewhere. I sometimes like to bring my hands to my abdomen, or one to my abdomen and one to my heart. So just notice what you'd like today as you begin. And as you arrive, making any adjustments. So sometimes I wiggle around a little bit just to find stillness. And as you're here, feeling free to notice the support below your body, your connection to the earth. And if you'd like, you could notice your breath. Feeling the flow of your breath, or the gentle rise and fall of breath. Noticing how your body is moved by the breath. And as we practice today, I'll share options, ideas, or possibilities, but we're always making the practice our own, never moving into pain. So take good care. So if you're feeling nourished by just resting, breathing, you could certainly stay in stillness. This could be a complete yoga practice. Or if you're interested in exploring some movement on the back today, feeling free to meet me in effortless rest. I'm just going to move this bolster out of my way. An effortless rest is a posture with our knees bent, feet on the earth. I usually place the feet about hip distance apart. Arms could rest beside your body with the palms up, or your hands can rest on your body, whatever you'd like. Making sure you feel comfortable in this posture, supported here. And then we can begin to explore some movement, beginning with some movement into the spine. So as you feel ready, you could begin to tip your tailbone or the base of your spine towards the earth, inviting an arch into your low back or your mid back. If it felt natural, you could even draw the shoulders down a little towards the earth. Feeling the back muscles engaging here, this little rainbow bridge. And then as you're ready, letting the whole back line soften, release, just unwinding that arch, coming back to the earth. You might pause here for a couple of breaths. And then we could explore the opposite movement. So the opposite of arching the spine would be to press or flatten the back down. And as you press the low back or mid back towards the earth, you might sense your tailbone rising, the muscles of the front body engaging. You could also let the shoulder heads lift a little towards the sky. From here, taking your time softening your shoulders, the front of your body, coming back to the earth. You could marry these two movements a few times. So in your own time, coming into an arch again, the tailbone might tip down, shoulders might draw down. As you're ready, releasing, just letting that go. Once you feel a full release through the back, Moving in the opposite direction if you'd like, pressing low back or mid back towards the earth. Tailbone rising, maybe lifting the shoulders up. And then softening the shoulders, the front of the body, coming back to the earth. I'll give quiet space for you to explore one more set of married movements. Whenever you are complete, just coming back to the earth, that sense of support, noticing how you feel. Sometimes after these little movements, we feel like our back is meeting the earth a little differently. And then from here, we could move into the spine in another direction by gently moving into our sides. So hands could either stay on the earth or they can gently rest on the sides of the body. I sometimes just make a little C with my hands. And then on one side, you could begin to let the hip laterally draw up towards the underarm. So just inviting the hip to draw up towards the underarm. And you'll notice how that side of the body contracts gently. The other side's actually lengthening. And then taking your time, releasing. From here, we could explore the second side, so the hip on the opposite side drifting towards the underarm, and then releasing. So just moving gently side to side. Again, the hands could either be down on the earth or gently touching the sides. Sometimes people feel like it's helpful just to connect to the movement by letting the hands rest on the sides. Remembering this is your body, your practice, and we can all make it our own. Maybe taking a couple more passes, going slow, noticing what you feel. Do the movements feel smooth today? Do they feel a little shaky? You could check in with your breath, your jaw, making sure you're not creating tension or gripping anywhere. And then as you feel complete, just returning to neutral. You might explore a sense of grounding by sending some pressure into the feet or a little pressure into the hands and then releasing. From here, you could draw the knees in towards your body. So if you'd like, you could either have the hands around the legs or around either the back of the legs or the shins. And you might rock here side to side, or you could take little circles with the knees. This might feel like the low back is just gently rocking or taking circles on the earth. You might explore circles one direction and then switch directions if you'd like. And then as you feel complete, you could bring one foot to the earth, keeping that knee bent, and then you might keep the other knee drawn in towards the body. Again, either holding onto the back of the leg or the shin, and free to move into your ankle a little. So it could be pointing, flexing, or little circles at your ankle. Just a little hello. And you could keep this knee tucked in, or another option could be to let the leg rest long over a bolster, moving into your ankle. Or a third possibility could be to extend the foot towards the sky. You could either hold on to the back of the leg here, or the arms could rest on the earth, whatever you prefer. Feeling free just to move freely into your ankle to notice what you feel. Noticing sensations in the back of the leg. And then as you feel complete, you could either bring the foot down to the earth, or you could bring the ankle to rest on the opposite knee, your choice. So if your foot is on the ground, you could explore movement into the hip by letting the knee drift out to the side and then up to center and in towards the other leg. So this little windshield wiper of the knee out to the side and in. If you have ankle resting above the knee, you could either be in stillness here, you might take gentle little rocks side to side, feeling the low back rocking on the earth. You'd be welcome to stay with that. Or you could come to stillness and you could move into the hip, letting the knee draw in towards midline, letting the knee move away. This movement could be motored solely by the muscles of the leg and the hip, or you can use the hand to gently guide the movement. So it's not a forcing, just gentle movement into the hip in any way that serves you today. As you're moving, you might come back to awareness of your breath, checking in with your jaw. Whenever you're complete, just taking time to unwind, to bring the foot to the ground, and to notice what you feel here. So you could bring awareness to that foot that's on the ground, any sensations into the leg, the hips, the low back. Bringing awareness to any differences right to left. And then as you're ready, feeling free to explore the second side, so the other knee could draw in. Again, you might hold onto the back of the leg or the shin if you'd like, moving into the ankle. And you could stay with the knee tucked in, that might be our first option. Or you could let the leg rest long over a bolster like I showed before, moving into the ankle. Or you could extend the foot towards the sky. So remembering there's no right or perfect in yoga. And if your foot is extended towards the sky, you could either support the back of the leg with your hands, or the arms can rest on the earth. So just finding whatever options feel supportive in your body today. Noticing what you feel, the ankle, the back of the leg. Whenever you're complete, feeling free to either let this foot come back to the ground with the knee bent, or you could bring the ankle to rest on the opposite knee. If your foot is on the ground, you might let the knee drift out to the side and into center, and gently pressing into the other leg. Movement into the hip. If your ankle is resting above the knee here, you could either be in stillness with that little bit of rocking, low back rocking on the earth. And you're welcome to stay with this option. Or you might choose to come to stillness, moving into the hip, letting the knee come in towards midline, letting the knee move away. Again, feeling free to let that be motored by the muscles of the leg and the hip, or to use the hand to support the movement. This is your body, your practice. Again, you might check in with your jaw, your breath. Sometimes we notice one hip or one leg feels a little different than the other. So we're moving with compassion and kindness, non-judgment. And as you feel complete, just taking your time to unwind, to release, bringing that foot back to the ground, and noticing what you feel. Noticing that foot on the ground, any sensations in the leg, the hip, the low back, any differences right to left. You could even send that little bit of pressure into the feet, or pressing the hands into the ground and releasing. You could hang out here in stillness, just breathing and being. Or if you'd like to explore some movement into the upper part of the body, you could start with the arms down, maybe, or the upper arms down and the hands up towards the sky. Feeling free to explore a little movement into your wrists or your fingers. Just intuitive movement, maybe little circles. Any movements you'd like. And you're welcome to stay with this. Or if you'd like, you could extend the hands towards the sky. And then you could either find stillness with palms facing the knees, or palms could face each other. Again, this is just another option or possibility in the practice. From here, we could reach our fingertips up towards the sky. And let the shoulders gently soften, and maybe draw the shoulders a little towards the earth. So taking our time, just exploring this movement into the shoulders, reaching fingertips up, slowly softening to neutral, and then gently drawing down. Continuing to explore movement if this is serving you, but remembering you could always let your arms come down to rest at any point. So maybe 1 or 2 more passes. And then as you come back to this neutral posture, if you'd like, the palms could face the knees. And from here, taking our time, we could begin to explore letting the backs of the hands float overhead. So we don't want the arms to go any further than our ears. And if our back starts to arch, we could let that be a cue from our body. We've gone far enough. Feeling free to take a pause at the top for a breath or 2. And then you might let the hands float slowly back up towards the sky. So we're taking our time. There's no rushing. So feeling free to let the backs of the hands float overhead, listening to your body. Again, going no further than arms by ears. If you'd like, pausing at the top. And then letting the hands come back up towards the sky. Once the arms are in neutral, you could bend the elbows so that fingertips are facing each other. And then from here, we could begin to explore coming into like a little hug where the arms wrap around the body, opposite hands touching the shoulders. Noticing which arm is on top, and then slowly opening, expanding. And you could invite your elbows and your shoulders to draw towards the earth. The next time you come around into this little hug, feeling free to change the way the arms are crossed. And then opening, expanding. Elbows, shoulders can draw towards the earth. And then you might bring your arms down to rest. Taking time to pause here just to notice how you feel. Any differences in how your body's meeting the earth. Any sensations that are present. You're welcome to stay here in stillness, or if you'd like, you could explore a little twist. Feeling free to let the knees drift one direction. So if I let my knees drift towards the left, I might turn my head towards the right. And then the knees could come up towards the sky. Maybe letting the knees drift the opposite way. So if my knees drift right, I could look to the left. So taking care, just making the practice your own. Feeling free to explore side to side, knees drifting one direction. If it's comfortable in your neck, just an option to look the opposite way. Sometimes people like to linger on one side for a few breaths. Sometimes people like to just move side to side with the breath. So just exploring movement until you feel complete. And then as you're ready, coming back to stillness. Feeling free to take any final movements that would serve your body today, listening to your inner wisdom. I think today I'll draw my knees in towards my body with a couple little rocks side to side or a few circles. Feeling free to do that. Maybe you'd like to take a gentle stretch. And then just finding a posture for rest. So I like this bolster. I'm going to bring it back below my knees again. Taking any things that you'd like for your comfort, feeling free to grab a pillow, a blanket, a bolster, and then settling into stillness. So your hands again could be on your body or out beside your body. Feeling support. Feeling the space you're in. And if you'd like, noticing your breath. And you're welcome to linger here in stillness, taking time to rest for as long as you'd like.